So now you can see I've got the gear leg stiffener attached to the gear leg itself with some fuel tank sealant. The fuel tank sealant, of course, squishes out a little bit, so I just try to feather that in a little bit. That's why that bead looks like it's super fat. But anywho, the wood stiffener is now attached with fuel tank sealant. Of course, it tapers down at this end here. The further up the leg you go, of course, that's going to give more room for the taper down at this side. So I have it up toward the top a little bit. That will be all hidden behind the fairing itself and the intersection fairing. And then there should be enough room down here with this taper for the leg to sit where it needs to sit and still be able to get the pin up through the fairing itself. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know that it's necessary, but I just feel better. I'm going to put some tape around it just to keep it from sliding down and to keep it from potentially lifting off of the leg, if that's even possible. So I'll put some tape on it, and then I'll go ahead and put the fairing on itself. One thing when you do the tape, you want to make sure you don't have fuel tank sealant up underneath the tape. So the tape is going to come across the leg, and then it's going to kind of jump across the fuel tank sealant and wrap around this edge, and then do the same on the bottom. If you get fuel tank sealant stuck up underneath that tape, it's going to be a pain to get off later. But the tape at this point is just temporary to help hold that leg or that stiffener against the leg. So I'm going to put some pieces of tape on there. I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'll put the fairing back on. So at this point now I've got the pieces of tape on, and again, that's just to help hold that stiffener from moving around excessively and potentially pulling away from the gear leg itself. You can see that I don't have it wrapped around the brake line. I just don't want to take a chance on smashing that brake line in any way, shape, or form. So the tape is on there kind of loose. It is pulling the gear leg stiffener into the gear leg a little bit, but it's not so tight that the stiffener itself can't move around. So now I'm going to fit the gear leg fairing in place, and I'll screw it to the wheel pant, and I'll put on the intersection fairing, and I'll just kind of move it around, twist it around a little bit so that the stiffener can kind of take a set. It will find its own happy place on the leg within the fairing. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then that entire setup is just going to sit forever for that fuel tank sealant to set up. So let me get that fairing on. I'll be back here in a second. All right, so there it is. That is all I can do for now. The gear leg stiffener is inside the fairing. The fairing is attached to the wheel pant, and it is also fitted into the intersection fairing. So in theory, that stiffener should be fuel tank sealed against the leg, and it should be oriented around the leg such that it will fit nicely inside of the fairing, at least well enough that I can clamp the fairing around the leg and get the hinge pin all the way up through it. And the hinge pin is installed. You can see it hanging right there. So it's not, I mean, it will work, right? Don't know if it's the best way to do it, but there it is. So at this point, what I know for sure is the gear leg stiffener fits. I can get everything screwed together with the gear leg stiffener in place and get the hinge pin in. That's what I know for a fact. This is going to stay like it is. I'm going to keep it on the engine hoist for now to keep weight off of the landing gear so the legs will be straight. Let that epoxy or let the fuel tank sealant cure. So it's going to stay like this for a while. At that point, I'll take everything off. I'll pull the fairing off, and I'll see exactly what that stiffener looks like. If it's somehow if it's separated itself from the leg or whatever, I'll be able to take this stuff apart. I'll take the tape off and just see what I have at that point. See if I need to do anything else, fix something, clean up stuff, whatever it is. And then potentially wrap it with something just as a secondary, support system, I guess, to help hold it against the leg. So I think that's it for now. I'm not really sure what I'll do next. I will probably fool around with maybe some heat shields. I'll have to relocate this engine hoist, but I'm thinking about doing some actual heat shield in this exhaust area. So I may fool around with that next. Not really sure, but like I said, for now, this is going to sit like it is for quite a while. Give that fuel tank sealant plenty of time to cure, and we'll see what's next. All right, as always, thanks for stopping in, and I'll talk to you guys later. Howdy, everyone. So just to kind of wrap up these gear leg stiffeners, you can see that I've got them installed, and I'm going to call this complete for now. Let me go around here to this other side, get a better shot. So like I've said in my other videos, these are mostly held on with fuel tank sealant directly to the gear leg. As you can see here, this is the gear leg sealant. The whole length of the stiffener is sealed, if you will, to the gear leg. And then after that had time to dry, I think I had it's been about 3 weeks, I think, or so. Since then, I've come back and added this Gorilla Tape just to kind of sort of reinforce a little bit the wood. And then after I had those done, I went ahead and reattached my brake lines to the leg with some electrical tape. And that's it. So how robust this actually is, how long it will last, if it will actually work as far as reducing shimmy, that's all yet to be seen, of course. The majority of my initial flying when I get into phase 1, my plan right now is to fly the majority of that, if not all of it, with the gear leg fairings and the wheel pants off. I need a lot of drag because I need to do some engine break-in as well. So for some added drag, I'm going to leave everything off. I'll probably do, well, we'll see, but I'm going to try to do my landings and takeoffs from a grass strip as well. So with the fairings off, that will help with drag for engine break-in, potentially. Taking off from a grass field, again, will help with running the engine good and hard. Landing on the grass strip and taking off will help really test this configuration, right? The landing gear is going to get a workout on a grass strip. So with everything off, I'll be able to monitor this setup and see how it holds up. That's the plan. So for now, I'm going to leave this as is. This is pretty much how it's going to be flown initially, and I'll just have to keep a close eye on it and see if it see how it holds up. If it survives, at some point, of course, I'll graduate over to a hard surface runway, and then I'll be able to hopefully find out sooner than later if it actually is effective in relation to shimmy. So the gear leg stiffeners are now finished. I've been fooling around with little simple things again with the engine. just little details. I've got some metal straps. Basically, they're stainless steel zip ties that I had on the engine mount, and they were in direct contact with the engine mount. So I've since gone back. I've removed all of those, and I've wrapped the engine mount with self-vulcanizing silicone tape, and then reapplied the metal straps. So that's all been done. What I'm going to fool with now is some heat shielding along these couple of exhaust pipes, and I'll get into that in a separate video. So I just wanted to get the gear leg stiffeners wrapped up, and I'll come back shortly with a different video, and maybe I'll talk about heat shields and things like that. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.